his influence on some of the artistic works that the Institute owned as well. So I'm very happy to support the motion.
I was there when Petra made the connection. It was very exciting. And she was very excited. Yeah, so you're moving, and would someone second? Judy? Oh, sorry.
Can I just ask? Okay, you can hear me. So that photograph that is now in, is it the Art Gallery of South Australia?
Yes.
Is that something that the Heritage Research Centre would consider asking to borrow for next year's exhibition? Would it be worth considering that?
Through the chair, we can always ask. Now, I'm not aware of the art gallery lending their collection readily, unlike the History Trust and the South Australian Museum, who have both lent things to us. We can always ask.
Hello, Cody. Okay, now we're on to information reports.
No, good.
Oh, didn't we vote on that one? Sorry. Oh, we didn't, did we? Yeah, we'd like to, a show of hands for the last item, Cool. Now we have the Cultural Heritage Centre annual report, which is also just into.
Thank you. Through the chair, it gives me great pleasure to present to the committee this report for the last financial year. It's always a lovely undertaking to look back and review all of the things that we did, and it was a very big year. We achieved a great deal. I'd like to, on behalf of Petra and myself, I'd like to thank everybody who's involved in the successes that we have at the Cultural Heritage Centre. So that's the committee, who are heavily involved in the symposium this year, and the other activities of the committee. That's also our colleagues in the Civic Centre, the library staff, the Civic Centre staff, youth staff. We all work very closely together when we hold events and functions in this place, and we certainly couldn't do it without the support of all of those team members. I'd also like to thank the broader town of Gawler team members who supported us in some specific activities in the last financial year, particularly the Pioneer Park reinterment ceremony, the outdoor team, the engineering team, all those people who helped us to ensure that we had a meaningful ceremony on the day. And also, last but not least, our management structure. So Natasha, David and our CEO Chris Cowley for supporting us in all of the activities that we do at the Cultural Heritage Centre. It was a big year, a very successful year, we believe. We've achieved a lot in terms of collection management, in terms of conservation, exhibition activities and visitors through the centre.
Yes, Helen.
Jacinta, in some point, I'm sorry, I've just lost track of it. You talk about the increase in cataloguing numbers, which is great, but there is a difference between that's publicly available and those that are not. Perhaps an explanation of what that is and why?
Yes. So through the chair, when volunteers catalogue an object, we like to attach a photograph to it. Now that can only be done by staff. The Photoshop program that we use is only available to staff for attaching them, and staff also go through and check. So that's why we have 10 volunteers who are cataloguing, and we have one research officer who is attaching the photographs. That's where the backlog occurs. We can still get into that and research and use all of those catalogue entries. They're just not visible to the public. We always say it's on our website, and we always say to people, if you can't find what you're looking for, please contact us and we go through and then we can find that item. So while they're not all publicly available, having them all catalogued is immensely helpful because it allows us to make those connections, find the information that we need. Eventually, over time, more and more of them become public, and we have made quite an increase in the public this year over last year. So that's an ongoing process.
And that would be quite standard for most collecting agencies, that you have that. It may seem like a bottleneck, but it's actually a quality assurance point, isn't it, in the process?
It is a quality assurance process as part of that, but it's also, it's just the reality of cataloguing. All cultural institutions have a backlog. South Australian Museum, the Art Gallery, it's just part of the process of what we do.
Mortlock. Yeah, thank you. Adrian?
Oh, sorry, Judy?
On the top, Judy.
So these are new, aren't they? Page 9, I think it is. I just think it's just a query. Under the little thing you've got there, the beginning in recognition of the 40th anniversary. You've got that? Mm-hmm. Second paragraph after that. On December the 3rd, 2026.
Yes, it's a typo.
Ah, okay.
And you know what? We had a bit of a laugh because it's a rare thing that you get a typo past David.
Or me. Thank you.
Okay, so is there any more discussion? Yes, Cody.
It was good to see that the one of our exhibitions has travelled to Port Adelaide now as well, and hopefully it's doing quite well over there, because it's yeah, I mean it's still an exhibition that's promoting that this happened in Gawler, so
Yes, yeah.
it is yeah, our own exhibition going yeah, going around. So I just wanted to highlight that as a big positive.
Yeah, it is.
Ellen?
Thank you. Thank you. With the permission of the chair, I'll speak second time. I was just going to offer my congratulations. I think most of us would have been impressed with what's happened. We are now really moving into the meeting the strategic plan, and the breadth and the depth of what we're now being able to achieve, and including the moving up to 47 events this year is amazing, given the resources, the staffing resources we have. So on behalf of the committee, if I can be so bold, to thank everyone involved with this, and to consider how far we've come from those very early days is really, really impressive. And I think there's not too many people now in the town that are not aware of the Heritage Centre and its role. So congratulations.
Here, here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Might be nice to formally move a vote of thanks.
Yes.
Perhaps. Could we do that?
Yep.
Can we formally move a vote of thanks?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Well, I'm happy to. Oh, God.
Yeah, the
I'd like
microphone,
to formally
please.
move a vote of thanks from the committee to not only Jacinta, but as she says, all the people that work in the.
Yeah, added as a point too.
Okay. So what happens with that? Do we...
Yes, all those involved in the success, yeah. The continuing success. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, oh, yes, so you're moving it, and would someone... Oh, no, Judy moved it, and Brian, Brian seconding it. Vote of hand?
Apparently, I'd like to second it and congratulate Jacinta on the work that's been done, and how the memento of what's been done is really growing as a... I don't need that. Or what are you recording it or something?
Yes.
Oh, God, bloody hell. And I'm just wondering if I can ask a question. You know, it looks to me like you're nearly outgrowing where you are, is there any future thoughts as to which way to go from here? Because, you know, it's an area, and taking into consideration that the museum won't be open until next year, you know, like people should be told to come here because this is where it's all at. And I suggested at the meeting, National Trust the other night, that a sign be put in the window down there, you know, to promote here so that it works together. But I just wonder, is there any thoughts in your mind about where to from here with what you're doing?
Through the chair, I think we do very well with the resourcing that we have. I think it's important not to stretch ourselves too thinly because we have a big collection to look after. While I do joke that I'd like to take over the library, I don't really mean it. So I think we've been operating since 2019, so 7 years. I think we can potentially, as we come to a 10th anniversary, the committee then can think about what the next 10 years might look like. But I think where we are now is we've done really well. We're expanding our programming, which is something we can expand. We can't expand our physical space, but we can expand our programming. We can expand our digital programming, and we're looking at doing that. We've got a digital exhibition in the cafe space at the moment on the rivers, on growing up in the rivers. I think we can, we are managing our collection and we're improving the conservation of that collection. So I think we're doing enough, more than enough for now. I think more and more people understand about the Gawler Heritage Collection. In September in Oslo, they're going to be talking about the Mary Ann Tucker leather frame. So we're getting out there. So I feel very comfortable that we're doing really well and that we have the potential, as I say, to expand in programming and while still effectively managing our collection and changing our exhibitions every year. So after that, perhaps around 10 years, perhaps that's something the committee would like to have a discussion with as we come to that anniversary. That's something we could maybe think about then.
I think my reason for the questioning is that, you know, the work that's been done and there's fantastic stuff that's been restored. People now know it's there. They're coming in, you know, when their old mum and dad dies and they've got that thing that could go in there. But we're putting it into storage. So therefore, you know, people don't get to see it, you know, and that's really what about a heritage town or a town that's got history. And I dropped a bombshell at council here recently where the St John's Centre, which is down the bottom of the street down here. Now, I was part of the Apex Club and a whole group of people that raised the money and built that for the Gawler Council. Judy, you'd remember the Miss Gawler Quest and all those sort of things that we used to have, where you used to waltz around the room. And basically, all the money was raised by the Apex Club of Gawler and that small group to build that centre. So the St John's used it and everything. Now they've got the super duper centre up the top. And so it's been put out for expressions of interest. You would have seen it in the paper. Does anybody want to take it over? And, you know, my thoughts, you know, they might be wild ones, but I'm 83, is the Gawler Cultural Heritage Centre. Now, not only that, but the history group of Paul Barnett and everything is now growing all the time in popularity, and they've just about outgrown where they meet. Do you go to those shows?
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what I mean there. And the sort of people that are getting involved there are the passionate people like Helen that are wanting to be involved to keep that history alive, you know what I mean? And I had another chat to Chris again today. I said, I had to get on. You got anybody going there yet? I said, well, I've told you what we could do, but it'll have to be a council decision and discussions of it. But I suppose the first question to ask is, has anybody ever been into that centre that's in the room here? Oh, yes, I know, Helen. You did your first day, Judy's there. Yeah. No, but anybody not been in there? I mean, it was a training centre, all those sort of things. It's huge inside. It's been done up because Hoodhead's wrecked it, so it's been redone up. It's a beautiful premise, and especially where it's situated. Now, the question was thrown at me, hang on a minute, that's way that council can get a bit of revenue. There's lots of other ways. They can sell some of the land that we're cutting, you know, like Goose Island and all that sort of stuff where only the dog shit on it and it costs us thousands of dollars to keep maintained. But the whole point about it is Gawler Neighbourhood House, who is there. I was around this today and I didn't only go into the op shop, but I went and looked around, a hive of activity, and out the back and so forth, all these now government, I think they're government offices or something, or whatever they are there. And I'm thinking, well, what is the difference in council having that and keeping what already was given to them, which is that centre for the future of the dreams that you're putting together in our town? So I just thought I'd second the motion and applaud it, but I just think that we've got to do a bit more thinking of tomorrow from down the line, because all that beautiful stuff that's in the storage, which is costing money to store it in those things, and when you store stuff, it falls to bits. It's a bit like pianos. You leave them in there and don't play them, they fall to bits, you know. And sadly, this is where I'm coming from, because the display area down there and all that sort of stuff is excellent, little offices and all those things to maybe do repair work and all. So I just throw it to the floor. David will probably say something, I can hear him brewing over there. But I just feel passionate about the point that could be the new. It's no different. I mean, the value of the neighbourhood house, which used to be the electricity trust. It was owned by the electricity trust. You probably all remember that and so forth. That's valued at $1.5 million, right? And down there's it's just a little pimple to what that's worth. And if we want to grow what we've got to do it professionally and not let things get crammed in everywhere. So if I had my 5 minutes, Mr. Chair.
You have, yeah. And we've got a vote, haven't we? A show of hands for that last recommendation, which was, yes, the endorsement, yes.
Cody, you didn't say nothing. What's wrong with you?
Oh, I got lots
Yes,
to
put it
say.
to the vote. Show of hands. Jolly good. Now we move to the financial year budget outcome. And who talks to that? That's Dave.
Centre can.
I didn't write the report.
Technically, no. I can. That's not a problem.
You've done too.
So through the chair, the outcome for the Cultural Heritage Centre operations for the year was positive, as it is always, because Jacinta is exceptional at managing her budgets. We delivered a significant amount as per the annual report just gone. We did want to highlight the volunteer contribution valued at $74,639 over the financial year. That's significant in itself, equivalent of at least one staff member. So fantastic work from all the volunteers down there. And also the fact that we've been able to deliver an increased number of events, diversify our income streams through additional tours and hosted discussions and tours of our exhibition, and also increased our equity reserve through donations at the end of the financial year, which is a fantastic position to be in, so that that money can be held in reserve, currently sitting at $25,708, to conserve items in the collection or acquire new items into the collection as they pop up, and based on committee recommendations or staff judgments. So fantastic end of year result, but happy to answer any further questions you have.
Thanks, David. Through the chair, the very last sentence says that you'll come back to us with a report about the governance and use of funds in that reserve.
Yes.
I mean, without making it unreasonable, some timing on that? Is that likely to happen perhaps at the next meeting?
Through the chair, probably not the next one, but the one after. We'll
Okay.
aim to get it through to the December meeting.
Okay.
Selfishly, I'm on leave for the October meeting.
No, that's fair
so I
enough.
prefer to be back for that conversation
that's-
at the December meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion on that? Okay, would someone like to move?
I'll move.
Deb, and second, Cody?
Any questions?
Just put to the vote.
I'll put it to the vote, yes.
Chair, I just wanted to also, sorry, I'm a little late in this, the acknowledgement of the donation from Councillor Koch, and the words, the sentiments that we acknowledge his vast contribution, not only financially, but being there on this committee since the beginning, since before the building was built, in fact. So I think that's worth reiterating.
Yeah, yes. And now we the next thing we have is the Heritage Reserve account listed for discussion.
So through the chair, yes, we were hoping to bring more together to this meeting, but as just discussed through the last report conversation, we'll bring that through down to the December meeting with a formal report around proposed governance structures and things like that at that meeting. We really want to get to the bottom of how we can work within delegations to achieve what we need to do with the collection. Especially in short time frame auctions and things like that. So it is quite challenging if we have to bring decision making through the committee and through to council at certain values. We are just putting together our thoughts around delegated authorities and those sorts of things within parameters of the heritage policy, obviously, collection policy that is. And we're still just mulling over that to ensure that our governance processes are rock solid. And ensuring that we meet all of our compliance requirements through the Local Government Act and those sorts of things. So it's a little bit more complex than we first thought it would be, which is why it's taking a little bit of time. But rest assured, we're on the case and we'll bring it back in December.
Yeah, given that some of the items that Jacinta's been able to get have come through an auction situation, you often have 24 hours to respond, if that. So I commend the staff for trying to find a solution to that. Otherwise, unfortunately, Jacinta's hands are going to be tied, and we're going to lose something like the lovely brooch that came in from the Lynch family, which is a really important. And we're in the fortunate position that there are a few people that inform Jacinta quite quickly that they're looking at these auction houses. So it's important that we have that ability to grab that stuff and bring Gawler's history home again. So well done.
So, with regard to that, is there any way of contacting the committee members quickly to get some sort of
So through the chair, that's part of this governance discussion. So the short answer is no, the committee can't make decisions outside a formal meeting setting. So we can't just email around saying, do you all agree? And yes, 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 no, no, no. That is not compliant under the Local Government Act. So we need to set up a framework where staff are delegated to act on behalf of the committee, for want of a better term, to procure items short in auctions, for example, or other, so that we have that capacity. So unfortunately, it's not able to be done via email loops or phone calls.
Can't do out of session.
Can't do it exactly out of a formal meeting. So there are other options where you could have a special meeting of the committee, but again, it's the committee's delegations as well. If the item is above the committee's delegated authority to expend, it has to go to council, and then council needs to meet to decide, which also isn't a great use of process. And
It's gone.
yeah, and the shortest time frame you call a special council meeting, I believe, is 4 hours. So quite often we'll miss the boat if that's the case. So we need to work through that process to ensure that we've got the capability to act quickly within parameters. Obviously, it's not a carte blanche open checkbook. and so we need to set up those delegations and ensure that the committee and council are happy with that process.
Good, okay. And so moving on, do we have to have?
Yeah,
any-
no
this-
need
that's
to
just-
move
yeah,
that one,
just-
it's just for future.
Yeah.
And the management plan, Jacinta, what was the time frame on bringing?
We haven't, I don't believe we've committed to a time frame. We've got some significant staff leave coming up, not mine, but so that we might have some challenges around what we can deliver for the rest of the year. So we are working on that one. So when we have a firmer date, we'll feed that back to the committee.
Okay. Moving on, are there any questions without notice?
Yes, sorry, I'm going to just ask. Given that we now know what the next year's exhibition, and you have mentioned it in an early report, Jacinta, how's the planning for the building and architecture exhibition going?
So through the chair, I've been having discussions with Richard, who's indicated that he would be interested in working with us again. Denise Schumann is fully committed to other projects, so she wasn't interested in being in the mix for this one. We have identified objects in the collection that could go into the exhibition, and we'll start to develop themes. As with all our exhibitions, we go broad, we come back in. So we look at what we have in the space. It's going to be a little bit challenging in that there aren't too many objects associated with building. There are lots of great stories, and we've had lots of good ideas about how we can make it interactive for younger people. And also we're thinking about, with this particular exhibition, we may well be able to involve a component that's very accessible for people with vision impairment. So you don't often get a chance to do that, but we're thinking about 3D modelling of buildings and things like that that people would be able to touch. So we're in the planning stages, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, sorry, Cody?
Yep, just the question I ask every time about Art Lab and the time capsule.
Councillor Davies, how did I not know that was coming? So you'll be pleased to know the contents of the time capsule are back at Gawler. So we're just working out how best to display them. They'll be on display in the next few weeks.
Great.
Cool.
Where? Do you know where?
So they will be in the display cabinet in the cafe space.
Okay.
So that's the best option that we have at the moment, and they'll be in there.
Great.
And I guess a follow-up, Councillor Sample mentioned earlier the Trust building is closed, but they actually have a McKinlay exhibit dedicated. I don't know if there would be any way to coordinate with them on some sort of having a united McKinlay offering.
So through the chair, we wouldn't have any room to borrow the Trust's things. We also have some McKinlay items of our own. So we have a bust of McKinlay, we have a notebook, a little leather pouch of McKinlay. So I think we'll be confined to the ones that we have at this stage, and we'll see what happens with the Trust and their building down the track.
And also the material that's come out of that little time capsule is quite expansive, isn't it?
It is. It will be a challenge to get it all into the cabinet and to decide which parts of it go into the cabinet. I will share with the committee some exciting piece that came back that we did not know about. There's an eyelash, so we have some DNA from 1874.
That was dinosaurs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was on the road. It was on the document. So that's a bit interesting.
Very good.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, moving on then, are there any motions without notice? Yes, have you got a motion without
No,
notice?
I just
Oh,
want
you
to ask
can-
a question without notice. As you said, to do with the donation, with the beautiful display, especially the one that's there now too, sort of thing, is it, are people being generous and popping in some donations into the box?
So through the chair, we don't have a donation box in there anymore. We had a cash box and it got stolen. And the tap and go that we had was actually costing us more money than we were receiving in donations. So we don't have any donations. People still make contact with me because there's information on how to contact us in the gallery, and they offer and we start conversations about making donations.
The reason for the question is a gentleman from the men's shed, you've heard of the men's shed there, they make up all these unique things and so forth, and his question to me was, if ever you want the men's shed to make up something unique that can sit in there, that can look a bit ugly and, you know, like the diprotodon and all those sort of things and so forth, and have it as a donation thing, but I'm not aware that the other box was stolen.
Yeah.
And do we hire that out? I see it in the paper, the big write-up in the paper the other day about somebody's got it down at Port Adelaide at the moment.
So through the chair, we've lent the exhibition to the Port Adelaide Council, so it's in, and it will be there at this stage until the end of the year. But
it's just lent to them. We don't get no return.
Cultural institutions generally lend. I mean, we borrow. We've borrowed from NIDA, we've borrowed from the South Australian Museum, we've borrowed from the History Trust, and there's no charge. They paid for it to be transported down there. They're paying for it to be transported back here, and they've insured it.
Judy.
What am I doing wrong?
No, it's just awkward, Judy.
It's not senile people's friendly, is it? I was just wondering about the relationship, ongoing relationship, obviously, with the Cultural Heritage Collection Foundation in terms of donations. Is there anything coming up that is suitable for that kind of input?
So through the chair, I'm not aware of anything. As Helen mentioned, we're very fortunate that there are a number of collectors who are constantly browsing auction sites and eBay and all of those sorts of places, and so they do the hard work for us and alert us to opportunities, but I'm not aware of anything at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Standing on behalf of the foundation, we stand ready, but if you recall, at the moment the foundation is focusing together with the history team and the National Trust on the Trove project, which of course would greatly benefit the researchers that support Jacinta in her work. So
True.
Okay, moving along then. Are there any motions without notice? Nope.
Through the chair, can I just, before we close, just share some information with the committee? I had a lovely conversation yesterday with a gentleman who's looking at buying the Steinway piano, and so he wanted to be appraised of its history. So I sent him the links to the committee reports. So it was just very, very rewarding to see that there was somebody who appreciated the history of the instrument as well as its musicality.
local, South Australian?
I didn't ask, he just said he was going to see it today. So it's in Melbourne.
And I hope that the plate on the front is still going to be there.
So through the chair, the plate's not there, but they were going to offer it to whoever bought the piano.
Good. That was a question with that. No, that was a.
I just wanted to share that information.
Discussion there, yes. Yeah, so, are there any motions without notice? No. Well, I think then we should close the meeting at 4:41.
Thank you.
And the next, the next